the area of dye-sensitized solar cells, quantum dot solar cells, organic solar cells, perovskite solar cells, and dilute magnetic semiconductor materials. He produced 14 PhD scholars under his guidance. He published 185 papers in the reputed journals and presented 70 papers in the national and international level conferences. He organized 4 international level conferences in the field of nanoscience and nanomaterials. Sir acted as a resource person for various conferences and workshops and also for an orientation program for higher secondary school teachers conducted by Government of Tamil Nadu. He is a member of professional bodies of ISTE and SESI. He is a reviewer for Elsewhere and Springer journals. He done a various funding projects sponsored by different funding agencies like AICTE, DST, CSIR, and UGC. He also done various Indo-Norwegian collaboration projects funded by Research Council of Norway and Norwegian Center for International Cooperation in Education. We are so happy to have you here, sir, today. Now the session is yours, sir.
A very good morning to you all. Thank you for the nice introduction. Respected Principal Madam Muthukumarasamy Madam, convener of this wonderful faculty development program, Dr. Mohan Kumar, then coordinators of this program, Hari Krishnan and Deepika Devi, faculty members of the great institution PPG College of Arts and Science, and my dear participants, a very good morning to all once again. So first and foremost, I have to appreciate the efforts put by the organizers for organizing a 7-day faculty development program or 1-week faculty development program in the area of recent trends in solar cells. In today's world, solar cells or solar panels or solar power has become a part and parcel of our life. Because solar power generation or electricity generation by using solar power has become imminent as far as today's world is concerned. You all know that as we move through the city of Coimbatore, you can see many rooftops being covered by using solar panels. Not only houses, also industries. So now we at least should have some basic knowledge or basic idea. When you forget about the discipline, you may be an arts or you may be from science background or arts background or commerce background or technical background, whatever it be. So now at least you should have some basic idea about what are solar cells or what are photovoltaic cells, what are solar panels, how they are being made, how electricity is being generated by using solar panel. Because solar is being used to produce electricity by the famous format, what you call by the name non-renewable energy. Because Government of India, you know that you have a separate ministry called by the name new and non-renewable energy, where you have your renewable type of energy, non-renewable, then renewable type of energy, where you have your solar, wind, all those things coming under that particular factor. Now, as far as this faculty development program is concerned, I am not going into the technical details because this being an inaugural address, I do not want to go into the technical details. In my first session, I will cover the technical details that about the latest development in solar cells, that is the Perovskite solar cells. But I think it is duty of every one of us to know where India stands as far as the production of electricity by using solar power. Where we are, how much are we producing? How much electricity is being produced from the solar panels? The government is saying that we have reached this much gigawatt, or we are 5th place, we are occupying the 5th position or 6th position in the world. Is it true or is it a hype? Where are we as far as the utilization of solar power is concerned? Because ours is a country in which we receive sunlight for almost more than 300 days. We have more than 300 sunny days as far as India is concerned. So we have to properly utilize that sunlight and get electricity out of it. So in this inaugural address, I'm going to take nearly 5 or 10 minutes and tell you about where we are as far as solar power energy utilization is concerned. Now, as of today, that is as of March 2021, the total solar power plants installed capacity in India, that is solar to electricity generation power plant installed capacity in India is 40 gigawatt. To be exact, it is 40.09 gigawatt. That is 40.09 into 10 power 9 watts. And if you see how this has been evolved, in 2018, if you see, in June 2018, it was only 22 gigawatt. And in 2020 November, it was only 32 gigawatt. But now we have reached 40 gigawatt. But you will not believe that if you see how this has happened, in 2015, it was only 2.6 gigawatt. That is 2,650 megawatt was the electricity which we obtained by utilizing solar energy in the year 2014. From 2014 to 2018, in the 4 years, you can see they have increased the capacity by 8 times. In 2018, we reached a capacity of 22 gigawatt. But if you see what was the target which was fixed by the Government of India fixed a target of reaching 20 gigawatt in the year 2022. They want to achieve 20 gigawatt only in the year 2022, but they were 5 years ahead of their schedule. And the year 2020 itself, we were able to produce 22 gigawatt. So how all these things happened, if you see, in 2015-16, you can see they have added 3 gigawatt, 16-17, they have added 5 gigawatt, 17-18, 10 gigawatt. And after that, if you see, it has been added in leaps and bounds. And now we are standing today at 40 gigawatt. Now, how big is this 40 gigawatt? If you see, if you compare it with the countries which are around the world, you can see we are placed nearly 4th or 5th. We are placed 5th as far as the conversion of solar energy to electricity is concerned. This is, I'm talking about the one which is being connected to the grid. In many of the houses, you can see they have installed solar power panels, but you have some issues with the electricity board in installing that net metering, because you can utilize the solar power, you can convert it into electricity, and you can use for a domestic purpose. That is that. In addition to that, if you are able to generate extra power, you can share it to the grid. You can share it to the grid, and at the end of the month, how much you have consumed, how much you have given to the grid. If you have given more to the grid, then they will pay back the excess amount. But you have some calculation, all those things are not. They will not pay for the entire thing. You have some 80%, 90%, all those things are there. But you have some issues with net metering, and that's why I think going for solar panels for houses is slight, I think, sluggish or something like that. Maybe in future, if they're able to resolve that issue, then more and more people will be moving towards solar panel. That is very, very important thing. In addition to that, you can see many industry houses, particularly in Coimbatore, I can name many industry houses, they have gone for solar power production. They have purchased so many acres of land and they have covered them by using solar panel, 1 megawatt solar power plant, 2 megawatt solar power plant, 3 megawatt solar power plant, all those things are there. So this is, I'm talking about the grid utilized solar power. In addition to this, you have another one that is what you call by the name non-grid utilized solar power. So India has played a very important part as far as this non-grid utilization of solar power, where the solar energy is being produced, utilized there itself, it is not being supplied to the grid. And this is being mainly utilized by the tribal people, by the people where there is no grid connectivity at all, where you do not have transformers, where you do not have transmission lines. If I give you the statistics, you will not be able to believe the statistics. Have we done so much? Has India done so much? They have done so much, and I will give you the statistics. This non-grid connected area, if you see, that has taken care of the electricity needs of many, many people, and the utilization of kerosene has come down to a great extent as far as the tribal people, as far as the rural people are concerned, where they do not have grid connectivity at all. Government of India has distributed more than 25 lakh 75 solar lanterns, 25 lakh 75 solar lanterns to the people who do not have accessibility to grid line connectivity. This is one. In addition to that, they have built more than 16 lakh 80,000 houses which are being fully powered only by using solar powered panels. That also they have done. And even near Coimbatore, if you go to the region, the hills of Nilgiris, Avalanche, all those places from where we get this Attikadu water, all those things you can see. There are so many tribal hamlets where you can see only solar panels will be there, and they have their electricity only from them. So like that, you have fully solar powered houses, nearly 16 lakhs. In addition to that, you have solar street lights. If you have gone through this Coimbatore to Mettupalayam road, you can see after Tudiyalur or even before Tudiyalur, you can see the street or the road lights are only being employed by using solar panels. You can see the solar panel being there above that light. So like that, you can see nearly more than 7 lakh street lights is being powered only by using solar panels. Even solar pump sets, nearly some 5 lakh solar pump sets. So this is off grid, which is not coming into this 40 gigawatt capacity range. So this is how we are moving as far as solar power research is concerned. In addition to that, another important thing is around the globe, we are playing a very important part because we have International Solar Alliance and headquarters is there in New Delhi, which was the inaugural, or what we can say, the foundation stone was laid by the French president during 2016. Francis and our Prime Minister in Gurgaon, New Delhi, where there are more than 120 countries which are lying between Tropic of Capricorn and Tropic of Cancer, and they all have formed an alliance which was decided in the climate summit in Paris, and their main motto or their main focus is to promote solar products and create awareness among the citizens to utilize solar power. That is very, very important. And another thing is, as far as India is concerned, I told you that there are more than 300 sunny days, and if you see how much solar power we get 5,000 trillion kilowatt of solar energy per year. 5,000 trillion, billion, million, etc. Western slang, hope you can understand it. So 5,000 trillion kilowatt of solar energy per year. That is the amount of energy which we receive. And if you want to understand how much it is, this is greater than the fossil fuel energy which we have. If you are going to convert all the fossil fuel energy which we have, all the fossil fuel reserves which we have into energy, the solar energy which you receive per year is more than that. Now, as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, we are actually producing nearly more than 4 gigawatt. And you know, we have a largest solar park at Kamodi, Kavinmigu Mullai Tirinagar, which produces nearly 600 megawatt or so. Not only that, another important thing is government has gone into one particular thing, what you call by name solar parks. Solar park is an area, thousands of acres, in which they have solar panels spread, they produce solar electricity. Out of the 10 largest solar parks available in the world, 3 of them are there in India, and the largest solar park is there in Batla in Rajasthan. It produces nearly 2,000 megawatt of power. So that is the largest solar park all over the world. Like that, we have 4. And in addition to that, another important thing is, you won't believe, I do not know how many of you are aware about this, fully powered solar airport. The first fully powered solar airport is there in India. It is the Cochin Airport. So Cochin Airport, the airport which is being fully solar powered. And if you see the western side of Cochin Airport, you can see solar panel being present over a large area. And they say that they are able to produce it, they are able to take care of all the events without using grid line. And in addition to that, we also have a railway station in India which is being fully powered, and that is the Guwahati railway station, where they utilize only solar power for the maintenance, for the working of the railway station. Not only that, you know, there was a train that is, I think in 2018, if my memory is correct, a train was introduced between Delhi Safdarjung railway station and another railway station, and it was a solar powered train. And they told that they were able to reduce the greenhouse emission to a greater extent when they used, because they were not using diesel and they were not using electricity produced by other means. So that is another main advantage when you go for solar energy, because it is a pollutant free energy and it is a renewable energy where you can say it is inexhaustible. As far as sun is there, you can convert it and utilize it for your domestic purpose as well as industrial purpose. So solar panels have become a part of our life. It has started to slowly enter into our domestic life and also into our industrial life. So we cannot think about a future without solar panels, without solar energy utilization. So that's why I told you at the start that Mohan Kumar and their team have done a wonderful job in organizing a faculty development program about recent trends in solar cells or solar cell research. So they have taken care of the thing that all the different types of solar cells, you can call it by the name generations of solar cells or types of solar cells, first generation, second generation, starting from a silicon solar cells up to the latest Perovskite solar cells. They have taken care to see that all the topics are being included. So they have done a meticulous job and they have planned it very well, and they have also identified exact speakers who have very good expertise, who have very good exposure to solar cell research in India, as far as solar cell research, not only in India and also abroad. So I have to appreciate and I have to congratulate them for organizing this wonderful faculty development program. And my humble request to the participants is, please utilize the opportunity. They have created a platform. It is left to you to utilize the opportunity to interact with the resource person, to interact with the speakers, not only gaining knowledge from these type of faculty development programs is the one thing. Another thing is you should be able to establish a link. You should be able to establish a connectivity between you and the resource person, between your institution and the research person institution, so that you can do some collaborative work. You can go for some joint publications. You can apply for some joint project proposals, etc. So my humble request to all the participants is utilize this opportunity, interact with the resource persons. They have taken much care to bring in very, very good resource persons and utilize the opportunity. So thank you very much for the opportunity given. Thank you very much all the people involved in PPG College of Arts and Science. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you one and all. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your inaugural address. Dear participants and professors, a kind request to you all. Kindly turn on your camera to take a virtual photograph.
Dear participants, we request everyone kindly turn on your camera so that we can have a virtual photograph for the inauguration of this faculty development program.
Sir, shall we move to the session, sir? Mohan, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Okay,
Sir, thank you, sir.
Now, let's move on to the technical session. I would like to invite Muthukumarasamy, sir, to take over the session.
Okay, madam. Thank you, madam. I will share my PPT.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
A very good morning to all. I hope the screen is visible to you all. Is it visible or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. My only one humble request is, as your principal madam pointed out, we are meeting through this online link. If you're not able to hear my voice clearly, or if you're not able to see the PPT screen which I have shared with you, please let me know so that we can modify it accordingly. So whenever you're not able to hear my voice clearly, or when the screen is not visible, please let me know. So good morning to all once again, and today I'm going to talk with you about Perovskite solar cells. If you have any doubt or if you require any clarification, you have the freedom to interrupt me then and there, or at last also you can ask me if you have any queries. Okay. So we'll move on to the talk which is about Perovskite solar cells. Now, Perovskite solar cells is the latest solar cells which have got introduced into the generation of solar cells. And when we talk about solar cells, one thing which all of us have to keep in mind is all the solar panels which we use today, all the solar cells which we are using today are only silicon solar cells. More than 90% of the solar cells are only silicon solar cells. These are all emerging technologies which has not come to a level which can replace your silicon solar cells. Silicon solar cells are the ones which are ruling the world, and I do not know whether these type of solar cells will be able to replace silicon solar cells. That I do not know, because I have to keep my fingers crossed. But these solar cells, perovskite solar cells, are emerging technologies, and they have given an efficiency, they have exhibited an efficiency which is comparable to the efficiency of silicon solar cells, but they have some other issues which are to be sorted out. That is the main reason why they have not become so popular. But they have got developed only in the last some 7 or 8 years or so. So actually, as I told, address solar power plant status in India, as I told you, it is installed capacity is 40 gigawatt as of 31st March 2020, and it has expanded from 240 to 40 over the past 7 years or 8 years, and it has established nearly 42 solar parks. Then you have International Solar Alliance, in which we are the founder member, and the headquarters is there in India. All those things are there. In addition to that, India has also put forward the concept one sun, one world, and one grid to harness abundant solar power on a global scale. And another important thing, a word of caution which I want to tell you is, I told you all these things happened in the last 10 years or so, maybe 6 years or 7 years or so. So don't think that I am a spokesperson for this government. It is not like that. All these things started in the year 2019 by the National Solar Mission, which was inaugurated by the then Prime Minister, by Dr. Manmohan Singh. And the other governments which followed, they also took it in the right direction. That's why we are at this particular stage today. Now, this 40.09 gigawatt may appear to be a very big number, but if you see how much of that is the utilization, as far as the electricity utilization of India is concerned, 40.09 gigawatt, how much is it? Is it 50%? Is it 20%? Or is 10%? That you're going to see in the mining slides. Because as we are going to go for a perovskite solar cell, before that, I think it is necessary to have some basic idea about where we are as far as solar power utilization is concerned. And you can see these are the solar parks which are there in India. This is Kamudi Solar Park, which is there near Madurai in Tamil Nadu, and it is producing 648 megawatt. This was in the year 2018 itself. And you can see Kamudi is near Madurai, that is Kavimiru Mullai Tirinagar, that is the name of it. Okay. Now the current price of solar to electricity is around 18% lower than the average price of electricity generated by coal-fired plants. That is, your thermal power plants are producing electricity, but the electricity produced by using solar panels are 18% lower. Please keep it in mind. And at the bottom, you can see the Pavagada Solar Park, which is there in Karnataka, and it is spread over an area of 13,000 areas, and it is 20,000 megawatt. And I think it is coming 6th or 5th or 6th around. If you take the largest solar parks around the world, it will be coming 5th or 6th. Then you have the Badla Solar Park, largest solar park in the world, spread over an area of 10,000 acres, and it produces 2055 megawatt. That is 2055 megawatt. This is the largest solar park in the world as of today. Because I'm going to give you the another important thing. See, all these details I have taken from the Government of India website only. It is only, these are all authenticated data. Then you can see on the right side 4 megawatt horizontal single axis track and one, which is there at Vellagoil in Tamil Nadu itself. And here the solar, because you know the sun as it moves from east to west, it is not going to move in the same direction. So you have to adjust the position of your solar panels. We want to effectively use it. So in such a case, they go for some tracking type of system where the solar panels inclination gets altered. So that is being done. That is there in Vellagoil in Tamil Nadu. Then you can see the Kurnool, which is there in Andhra Pradesh, 1000 megawatt solar power park. So like this, it goes on. You can see this is the world largest photovoltaic power stations, and you can see the Badla Solar Power, that is the largest one. You can see this is the one, Badla Solar Power Park. It produces 2,245 megawatt. And next you have one at China, Honghe Hydropower Hanan Solar Park. Then you can see again third position we have our Indian solar park, which is Pavagada, which is there in Andhra Pradesh. Then you can see at Kurnool we have in Andhra Pradesh another one. Here you can see 1000 megawatt. Okay. So as far as solar power utilization is concerned, India is moving in the right direction. They are trying to use more and more solar panels and converting it to electricity. So this is one important thing which you have to take pride of. And installed solar PV capacity as of 2021, this is March, 31st March, as I told, it is 40,085 megawatt, which means 40 gigawatt. So it is 40 gigawatt. You can see we started in the year 2010. 10 years back, you can see it was only 161 megawatt. Now you can see how much amount we have improved it, and you can see the rate at which it has been increased. So now we are standing at 40,085 megawatt. This is as on 31st March 2021. And this is about the solar power production of different states. Only 4 or 5 states play a very important part as far as solar power production are concerned. And we have, before going to where we stand, you can see Rajasthan, which is 5,732. That is the amount of solar electricity they get from solar. But you can see here Karnataka. They are producing nearly 7,000 megawatt of power. And Tamil Nadu, you can see it is Telangana, it is 4,200, and Tamil Nadu, you can see it is 4,400. We are positioned nearly third or fourth. Gujarat 4,430, we are 4,475. So as far as the production of electricity from solar is concerned, we are nearly third or fourth as far as India are concerned. We were lagging a bit after the commodity project. After that, many industry people started to enter into solar utilization. They went for massive purchase of lands and going for laying of solar panels. And many industries, you can see, they have 3 megawatt, 4 megawatt, 10 megawatt solar power plants being installed all over Tamil Nadu. So that's why we are positioning in the third position or fourth position, because you can see Gujarat as well as Telangana are very closely following us. So as far as of today, you can see this is actually in March 2021. Tamil Nadu is producing 4.4 gigawatt of solar power. And all over the world, if you see where we are, where India is all over, if you go for the world map and see what is the position of India, you can see we are here. Actually, this was a little bit early, that is 39,000 gigawatt. Now we are 40 gigawatt. Okay. And you leave this European Union, because European Union, you can see this is from a group of countries, all Scandinavian countries coming together. Your Denmark, Norway, Sweden, all those things. Okay, that's not a single country. European Union, entire European Union, even UK, it is 152. But you leave it, you can see then 1, 2, 3, 4. We are in the 5th position in global ranking as far as the utilization of solar power is concerned. Our conversion of solar energy to electricity is concerned. We are in the 5th position all over the world. That is very important thing. But the other countries are also following. You can see, you can make a comparison with China. You can see where they are 254 gigawatt. We are only 40 gigawatt. So we have to move forward so that more and more solar panels are being utilized for the production of electricity. Individual houses move towards the utilization of solar panel. Okay. So I told you about 4 gigawatt, all those things. Those numbers appear to be very, very big. But major portion of electricity which we use today comes only from our thermal power station. You can see here the major portion of electricity, it is from coal. Actually, we have put it as 5.4% of the electricity from coal. Actually, it is higher, more than 60%. It is only from thermal power plant. So as far as India is concerned, the major portion of the electricity which utilized is coming only by burning coal, nearly 60%. You have some lobby, all those things. I do not want to enter into that political thing. We'll leave it. Okay. Then 45 coming from large hydro, because if it is more than 100 megawatt, they make it as large hydro. Less than 100 megawatt means they make it as small hydro. So small hydro 1.3, large hydro 12%. Then wind power 10.2%. Even though we take wind power into account, that is seasonal in nature. Only during this season, for example, this time, this period, you can see you'll be having wind power, you'll be able to get electricity. So because of the seasonal variations, we cannot depend fully on wind. Coming to solar power, you can see it's only 9.4%. So only 9.4% of the electricity which we utilize today is coming from solar. Even though we talk big that we are producing 40 gigawatt or something like that, the amount which is being replacing our coal or replacing our hydro, it's only 10% replacement. So leaps and bounds, we have to move forward so that we are able to reach nearly 15% or 20% of electricity needs being met by the solar panels. And this is the statistics. You can see thermal, how much this is as on 2020, how much megawatt capacity. Thermal means it is 23 lakhs, the nuclear 6,000, hydro 45,000, and renewable, here renewable means it is all your solar, wind power, everything, 87,384. In that 87,000, you can see it's only 34. Now it is 40 megawatt. That is our solar power. And you can see small hydro means less than 100 megawatt. Then you have wind power, 37. Then cogen means for cogeneration, where they are using for heat as well as light, 9880, all those things. Okay. Now, what is the target which India has set? I told you that India has set a target that they want to reach 20 gigawatt in 2022, but they achieved the target 4 years ahead of the schedule, and 2018 itself they reached 20 gigawatt. Now they have fixed a target of 100 gigawatt to 2022, but it is a highly ambitious target. We do not know whether we'll be able to reach 100 gigawatt in 2022. Because now in 2020, we are in 2021, and as per this target, we should have reached 82, but we are halfway only, we have reached only 40 gigawatt. So maybe we may reach to 60 gigawatt or 70 gigawatt by the year 2022. But anyway, they have gone for a highly ambitious target. They want to go for 100 gigawatt as of 2022. Another important thing is the cost of solar power, because there was a misconception that solar power is costly, and it was initially costly. I will accept that fact that nearly 10 years back, 7 years back, you can see in the chart itself, in 2010-11 per unit you can see 2010-11 per unit of solar power, it was 17.91 rupees. 4 unit solar power, 17.91 rupees. Today it is 2.44. It has even come down. It has come to nearly 2 something. So you can see the cost of solar power has come down drastically from 17 rupees per unit in the year 2010 to 2.44 rupees in the year 2017-18, and this has made more people to move towards solar panels. They have started to install solar panels in their home, in their industry, and they have started to utilize the electricity which they get from solar panel. So this was a misconception which was there earlier. Now this also has been broken, and now the cost which you have to spend has become very, very less. And you can see I've given because another thing which I want to tell you is Tamil Nadu was the first government in 2018 itself. They reduced the price from nearly some 6 or 7 rupees per unit to 3 rupees per unit in 2018 itself. Now you can see how it has got reduced. I have given a monthly statistics, and now it has come to 2 rupees. Different round of auction, because these are being supplied by different industry people who own solar power plants, and now it has come down to 2020 November, the latest one. Now it's only 2 rupees per unit. But if you're going to produce it by using coal, it is 18% more than this, which means it will be more than this 2 rupees if you're going to go for your hydro or if you're going to go for your thermal power plant. So the thing that if you're going to get electricity from solar panels, it is going to be costly is ruled out now. It has become a very economical type of electricity generating system. And world regions, you can see solar power installed capacity, different countries in Asia, you can see we have 4,837 gigawatt, and that is mainly because of India and particularly China. Now coming to our main part, Perovskite solar cells. Now, Perovskite solar cell is a solar cell which got introduced recently, maybe near 7-8 years back. Before that, we didn't know about anything about Perovskite solar cells. Now, what are the different types of solar cells which are there? They have classified the solar cells into 3 different generations. They are first generation, second generation, and third generation solar cells. First generation, they are the cells which are dominating the world even today. They are the ones which are being utilized for the manufacturing of solar panels, all those things. They are crystalline solar cells, particularly monocrystalline silicon solar cells. So you can see on the right hand side corner, 93% of the solar panels which are being commercially made are crystalline silicon solar cell panels. Okay, only thin film is 7%. So the first generation solar cells which got introduced during the 18th century are the ones which are ruling the world even today, because going for an alternative for silicon solar cell, it is not that easy, because all of you know that silicon is a material which has been studied in and out, and that has led to the growth and development of the technology, what you call by the name semiconductor technology or semiconductor science. So even people who are working or who are doing research in silicon solar cells, they only do some passivation. They go for a passivation, they go for a coating, they go for an anti-reflection coating, and see how it is affecting the efficiency, how the longevity of silicon solar cells can be improved, all those things. Okay. So silicon solar cells, nothing is left to study about it. They know how long it will last, what is the efficiency, what will be the reduction in the percentage of efficiency, everything they know about silicon solar cells. So if you're going to sell silicon solar cell, they will say 15-year warranty, 17-year warranty, அடிச்சு சொல்வாங்க 17 வருஷம் வாரண்டி இருக்கு நீங்க யூஸ் பண்ணுங்க அப்படி. But coming to the second generation, third generation solar cells, we cannot do that, because they are all the ones which have entered into the market only. Now their longevity or their lifetime is less than some 8 years, 9 years, etc. So that is the main drawback associated with the second generation, third generation solar cells. Coming to second generation solar cells, you have amorphous silicon which have come there. Then you have thin film type of solar cells, particularly you have cadmium telluride type of solar cells. Then you have cadmium, indium, gallium, selenide type of solar cells, which all come under thin film solar cells. Main advantage of thin film solar cells is the amount of material required to fabricate a solar cell is less, because it's only thin layer. So the amount of material required will be very less. Then comes the third generation solar cells, where you have nanocrystalline solar cells. It may be polymer based, your organic solar cells, it may be dye-sensitized solar cells, or it may be perovskite solar cells. All these solar cells are emerging technologies. They have not come to a level where we can say they will compete with silicon. Even though I am working with perovskite solar cells for the past 7 years, 8 years, I have worked with dye-sensitized solar cells, I have worked with organic solar cells, polymer solar cells, and I also worked with well-renowned labs all around the globe. I cannot say with a positive frame of mind that in the near future these solar cells are going to become a big competitor to silicon solar cells, but they are going to play an important role. But whether they are going to become a competitor to silicon solar cells, that's a big question mark as far as I am concerned. So we are going to see about perovskite based solar cells, which are all emerging technologies and which come under the category what you call by the name third generation solar cells. Now why many people are working, because any person who is working in solar based materials research, he will try to work with perovskite solar cells. So the main thing is, you can see here perovskite solar cell. This is your perovskite solar cell. It started only after 2013. After 2013 only people started to work with perovskite solar cells. You can see during that time the stability, the efficiency were very less. It was only nearly 10%, 11%, 12%. Now this is in 2020. Now they have reached 25, more than 25% efficiency. That is, they are able to get an efficiency which is comparable to the efficiency of silicon solar cells. Nearly 25% efficiency they have achieved by using perovskite solar cells. So within a short span of time, from 2013 to 2020, they have reached this efficiency. But you take your crystalline silicon solar cell, so it started in 1970s, and only in after 2010 you can see they have reached, maybe in 1995 after that they have reached this efficiency. That is, they have taken nearly 25 years, more than 25 years to come to an efficiency of 20%. Whereas perovskite solar cells, within 7-8 years, they were able to give you an efficiency which is comparable to efficiency exhibited by silicon solar cells. So that is the main advantage of perovskite solar cells. That's why people have started to move towards perovskite solar cells. And this is the energy table, or what you can call it as solar cell efficiency chart, which is being released by NREL of your United States of America. And you can see here all type of solar cells, your modules, then emerging PV, thin film technology. You can see here perovskites, they are here. You leave these, are all modules. You can see multi-junction solar cells, where you have tandem type of solar cells, tandem type of silicon, all those things. They have gone up to 47%, 44%. But if you take crystalline silicon solar cells, maybe 29%, 28%, 27%. And your perovskite solar cells, you can see here, that is 20, nearly they have reached, crossed 25%, or 25.5% is the maximum efficiency exhibited as of today by perovskite solar cells. Another important thing, that is lab scale efficiency, not commercial efficiency. Please keep it in mind. And another thing is, it has not been tested under all conditions as tested for silicon solar cells. Silicon solar cells have been tested under all conditions under different temperature gradients, different irradiation gradients. Under all conditions, it has been tested. But perovskite solar cells and other new entries, they have not been tested under all conditions. So this is nothing but that is a magnified version. You can see it has come to a level of 25, which is comparable to the efficiency exhibited by silicon solar cells. You can see here. So it has come to this particular level. That's why people have started to work or move towards perovskite solar cells. And you can see the efficiency, how it has increased from 2009. It was only 3.8%. The efficiency was only 3.8%. Efficiency is nothing but solar power which you give and the amount of electricity which you get. Amount of electricity produced divided by the solar input. How much solar has been converted to electricity? That is what we call by the name efficiency. In 2009, it was only 3.8%. And 2016, I have put, now it is 25. More than 25, you can see it has crossed 22%. Now it is 25.5% in 2020. And number of research publications, because many people started to work with perovskite solar cells. Per year, the number of publications, you can see 2014, nobody was working with perovskite solar cells. Some people were interested in working with crystal growth of perovskite, all those things. But you can see after 2017, number of research publications per year, that is ordinary perovskite solar cells, this blue color, nearly 2,000 publications or more than 2,000 publications after 2017. And 2019, you can see maximum, it was nearly 4,000 publications per year. All these things are Scopus indexed publications. Please keep it in mind. It is not your ordinary publications. They are all indexed publications, Scopus indexed publications. Nearly more than 3,000 publications are coming out per year, particularly in perovskite solar cells. And you have your two-dimensional, three-dimensional perovskite solar cells. That is one thing. Another important thing which you want to tell you is, if somebody is interested in working in perovskite material, if you can grow large perovskite single crystals or large perovskite crystals, you can also use them for another application, particularly radiation detecting, X-ray radiation detecting, gamma ray radiation detection. You can use this perovskite type of materials. They are also very good detecting materials, particularly to detect X-rays as well as gamma rays. So there also they have started to use this perovskite materials. So this is about per year. You can see now there is a small decline in the number of publications. And 2017 to 2019, people have worked in perovskite solar cells and the papers which are published. And you can see this is in Web of Science, 34% it is in your perovskite solar cell. Then your photocatalysis, non-Fullerene solar cell, small molecular solar cell, tandem solar cell, silicon solar cell, all those things. Organic solar cell 23% and polymer solar cell 16%. Comparison, I have talking big about perovskite solar cell. And what are the big things associated with perovskite solar cell? If you see, the material cost is low. See, these are the characteristics which you have to take into account when you are fabricating a solar cell. That is the material cost, finished material cost, fabrication cost, energy payback period, LCOE, and efficiency. This LCOE is something related to your efficiency. That is the payback period and other things. You can see perovskite, your material cost is low, finished cost is low, fabrication cost is low, and energy payback period, I think you can get it by nearly 2 years or 3 years. Silicon means you have to wait for more than 10 years. Then LCOE is low and efficiency is high. If you compare it with silicon, you can see the disadvantages with silicon is this cost. High cost, high fabrication cost, energy payback period is high, all those things. So as far as perovskite solar cells are concerned, you can see it is advantageous. The material cost is low, fabrication cost is low, energy payback period is less, LCOE is low, efficiency is also high, comparable to that of your commercial silicon or crystalline silicon solar cells. Coming to your thin film solar cells, cadmium telluride or copper indium gallium selenide, which with these two materials I have also worked maybe in 2006, 7, etc. So 3, 4, etc. I was working with cadmium telluride and also with copper indium gallium selenide. They are all very good materials also. But you can see the material cost, finished cost is high, payback period is high, and this LCO is high. Efficiency is also only 24-25%. Then why perovskite material has not become so popular, or what are the obstacles which are not allowing this to move forward as expected? When you talk about utilization of a material for the production of electricity, particularly Your photovoltaics or solar cell, you have a golden triangle, which they call by the name cost, efficiency, and lifetime. So these are the three things which are going to decide this cost, efficiency, and lifetime golden triangle. So you can see here, they have given a comparison between silicon and your perovskite solar cell. Previous case, the perovskite solar cell, and this is the commercial silicon. You can see the cost. Cost-wise, it is very, very economical, more than half, less than half that of your silicon. You can see less than half that of silicon. So cost-wise, very, very cheap. Efficiency, silicon 26.6, perovskite 23.3. Comparable efficiency. Only thing here which many of you may mention here is silicon. Commercial silicon solar cells itself, they exhibit nearly some 18%, 19%. These are all lab scale efficiencies. Perovskite solar cell 23%. So as far as cost is concerned, as far as efficiency is concerned, they have identical character, or the characteristics is almost the same. They match with one another, and you can claim that perovskite solar cell is a very good competitor for a silicon solar cell. Then where you have the problem? So the problem is here, stability. As I told you earlier, silicon solar cells or solar panels, they will give you warranty of more than 16 years. You go and purchase a silicon solar panel, you want to use, you want to have your house electrified by using silicon solar panels. If you go and purchase, they will say 15-year warranty, but perovskite only 1 year warranty. Not even 1 year, because the stability is not there with this perovskite type of solar cells. The lifetime, how long will they be able to withstand this radiation, this temperature variation, this moisture, this atmospheric conditions? It is a very big question mark. Only 1 year or more than 1 year. If you go through some of the papers which are being published in Nature, you'll be able to see title of the paper itself will say that 2000 days stability perovskite solar cells. So they mentioned that the solar cells which they have fabricated are able to be there for 2000 years. For 2000 years, keep it 2000 days in the solvaanga. So that is the stability which they claim. So they are papers which are being published in Nature. So the stability is a very particular issue as far as perovskite solar cell is concerned. If you are able to overcome the stability, then we can claim that perovskite solar cell will be a competitor to your silicon solar cell. Now we'll enter into our main part, perovskites. What are perovskites? Perovskite is a general name. Don't think that you have a material called by the name perovskite. You don't have any material called by the name perovskite. Perovskite is a general name. So materials which have a particular type of atomic arrangement resembling the atomic arrangement of calcium titanate, CaTiO3, are called by the name perovskite. So any material having an atomic arrangement or molecular arrangement same as that of calcium titanate, you call by the name perovskite. So perovskite is a general name. It doesn't pinpoint to any particular material. All materials which have this particular type of atomic arrangement, you call by the name perovskite. Another important thing, all perovskites are not good photovoltaic materials, or you cannot say they are all good for solar cell fabrication. Only you have some perovskite materials which can be used. Other perovskite materials cannot be used for solar photovoltaics. Now this name perovskite, if you see how it came, it is named after the Russian mineralogist, famous mineralogist Count Lev Perovsky, and this name was given by Gustav Rose in the year 1839 when he was able to find this calcium titanate material in Ural mountains of Russia. Then he gave this particular name perovskite. So you have some materials available in this category, or some materials which have this type of atomic arrangement behaving as a very good photovoltaic material. So again, I want to remind you that any material which has a particular type of atomic arrangement or molecular arrangement as that of calcium titanate, you call by the name perovskite type of material. Some materials which have this type of atomic arrangement can be used to convert sunlight into electricity, and they are all called by the name perovskite type of solar cell materials. The structure of this perovskite material, it has a general molecular formula is AbX3, where A is your cation, and that cation is a tetravalent type of cation, and it can be an organic type of material or an inorganic type of material. Inorganic means it may be a calcium type of material or titanium or barium, and inorganic means it may be methylamine or formamidinium, such type of materials will be your A-type cation. B-type cation will be a metal divalent cation, and particularly lead, copper, and tin fit into this B-type cation. Then X3 is an anion. This may be a halide or an oxide. It may be bromide or fluoride or chloride. For example, if you're going to have a calcium, it may be calcium lead chloride, calcium lead bromide, like that, or it may be an oxide, as we saw earlier, CaTiO3, calcium titanate, calcium titanium oxide. So it may be an oxide or a halide. And if you go for an organic type, it may be methyl ammonium lead iodide, lead oxide, lead chloride, like that. So the general formula is AbX3. There is a cation, it is a tetravalent. It can be either organic or inorganic. And B is a cation, it is a divalent one. And X3 is your anion, oxide or halide. And particularly for perovskite solar cells, you use only halides, particularly iodides and mixture of iodide and chloride, and use lead particularly. And now they have replaced lead because lead is a toxic element. They go for cesium, they go for copper, they go for tin, etc. Because when you are working with perovskite of material, a strong understanding about the basic atomic arrangement or molecular arrangement very, very essential, because this is a very complex material. You have to make your cations, you have to make your anions to sit at exact positions, then only you will get a very good perovskite structure. So this is the structure of a perovskite type of material. You can see here, it is a tetragonal type of structure where your methyl ions will be occupying the corner positions of the tetragonal, and all the face centers will be occupied by your oxide or halide ions, and at the center of the body you will be having the divalent metal ion. So you can see here the oxides or the halides which occupy the face center positions of your rhombohedral, tetragonal arrangement, form a octahedral type of arrangement, and at the center of that octahedral type of arrangement you have a divalent ion being present. That is your metal divalent, either lead or tin or copper. So in perovskite solar cells, generally we use methyl ammonium lead iodide or methyl ammonium lead chloride based materials. So here you can see your methyl ammonium will be occupying the corner positions, and the chloride or iodides will be occupying the face centers, and with the help of that they will form an octahedral arrangement, and at the center of the body you'll be having a divalent ion, that is your lead ion being present. So you can see that in the diagram there on the left hand side. So you can see here lead being occupying, and you can see at the center diagram, in the center diagram, the octahedra which are being formed by the halide ions. And actually, initially people were working only with this cesium lead iodide, cesium lead chloride. Then they thought we will go for an organic inorganic hybrid perovskite, and that was introduced by Dieter Weber in the 1978, where the cesium was replaced by methyl ammonium. So cesium was replaced by methyl ammonium. So it was methyl ammonium lead iodide or lead chloride. And this methyl ammonium lead iodide material is the most suitable material for the fabrication of solar cells. Here in this type of solar cells, methyl ammonium lead iodide is used as an absorber material, which will be absorbing your incident solar radiation. Then it will convert it into electricity. And it has a band gap of 1.55 and an absorption coefficient as high as 10 power 4 to 10 power 5 centimeter minus 1. And as I told you earlier, this is the arrangement of your methyl ammonium lead iodide perovskite material, where the methyl ammonium ions occupy the corner positions, and the chloride ions, so chloride or iodide, your halogen ions, occupy the face center position, and the lead occupies your central position or the body center position. And another important thing is there is also what you call by the name phase change, where you know that you must have studied the crystal structure, where transition from one to another thing can happen, one important thing, and also your corner atoms may be moving towards, because all these things depend upon how you're going to have your crystal structure constructor or unit cell constructor. So you can see the difference between the left hand side crystal structure and right hand side crystal structure. The A ion which was occupying at the center has been moved to the corner position. So you can see the faces of the cubes occupied by your anions, but these cations, they may be occupying the corner positions or the body center position. That possibility is also there. In the left hand side structure, you can see atom B is occupying the corner position. You can see here the atom B is occupying the corner position. You can see here atom B is occupying the corner position in the atomic arrangement, whereas here it comes and occupies the body centered position. And these things happen because it all depends how you are going to construct your unit cell. So based upon that, you will be having all these things happening. And another important thing is this methylammonium iodide exhibits in 3 different crystal structures, that is greater than 327.4 Kelvin. It will be cubic. In this temperature range, 162 to 327.4, that is in the room temperature range. It will be tetragonal, where we are using it as a solar cell material. And if you go for a temperature less than 160, it will go for orthorhombic type of structure. So it exhibits 3 different structures, that is cubic structure above 327 and tetragonal in the temperature range of 162 to 327, and below 160 it goes for orthorhombic structure. 327 means, it will be room temperature, slightly 30 degree, 40 degree centigrade. It will be in tetragonal structure, where your methylammonium ions will be occupying the corner positions, and divalent metal ion will be occupying the center of the body, and the halide ions will be occupying the face centered positions. And this is about your organometal halide perovskites, where your A will be methylamine and B will be lead or copper or tin, and generally they go for iodine as far as perovskite solar cell materials are concerned, or they go for mixer where chlorine and iodine are being used. But chlorine you cannot take, you should not go beyond 30%. You have some issues associated with it when you go for more than 30% chlorine. And the main advantage with this perovskite materials are that they are low temperature. That is, you can easily process them at room temperature. They exhibit high absorption. They are able to absorb more amount of visible light. Then they have small exciton binding energy, earth abundant materials, and excellent charge mobility. Charge mobility is very, very high as far as perovskite materials are concerned. So these are the advantages, or you can even say what are the characteristics associated with perovskite type of materials, which make them as favorable materials for the fabrication of highly efficient solar cells. Manufacturing cost is low because we did not go for high vacuum associated methods. Ordinary chemistry lab methods can be used for the fabrication. That is, solution type of methods or wet chemical methods or even gas-based chemical methods can be used for the fabrication of your perovskite type of solar cells. And what are the properties which make them an ideal material for the fabrication of solar cell? They have high optical absorption coefficient. Optical absorption coefficient means the amount of light which they can absorb and convert them into electricity by producing electron hole pairs. Excellent charge transport. The charges which are being produced after absorbing your light has to be transported effectively within the material so that they reach the respective electrode. Otherwise, they'll be lost by the recombination process. Then the device parameter. One interesting thing about this perovskite solar cells is if you take a silicon solar cell and if you see what is the open circuit voltage, it will be 0.7 volt or 0.6 volt. But here, perovskite solar cells exhibit a very high open circuit voltage of 1.1 volt. Stability. Studies show that it can maintain more than 80% stability up to 500 hours. If 1,000 hours, nearly 2,000 hours, they are able to maintain 70% stability. But more studies are needed because if you want to commercialize 15 years stability, the solar cell which I have fabricated will be able to withstand in atmosphere as such for 15 long years, because you have a competitor which is silicon and which has been tested under all conditions, a proven material, and they say it will exhibit the same efficiency, same open circuit voltage, same short circuit current for more than 10-15 years. But here this material only in hours. We are able to claim only in terms of so many hours, 1,000 hours, 2,000 hours, 3,000 hours. But we should be able to extend it to years. Then only we can say that it will be a very good solar cell absorbing material. So that is the main drawback associated with this perovskite type of material. Other concerns associated, the scaling problem, because we should be able to produce large scale panels by using perovskite material. I do not know, many of you may not be knowing that when you visit China, particularly Beijing or Shanghai, you can see that they are able to fabricate solar panels in cottage industries. More than 70% of the solar panels are being imported from China only. In Coimbatore itself, 15 years back, I know some companies where solar panels were being fabricated. Silicon solar panels பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தாங்க. Today they say that it is not possible. They are not able to compete with the China market. They only import panels from China. அதை வாங்கிட்டு அப்படியே they connect them together and they form a panel and they sell it. சரிங்களா? So scaling problem is an issue. You should be able to produce large scale panels by using perovskite type of materials. சிலிக்கானை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் நம்ம if you enter கோயம்புத்தூர் கணபதி ஏரியா மோட்டாருக்கு எப்படி வந்து சின்ன சின்ன காட்டேஜ் இண்டஸ்ட்ரீஸ்ல மோட்டார் பம்ப்ஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்களோ அந்த மாதிரி சைனால பாத்தீங்கன்னா காட்டேஜ் இண்டஸ்ட்ரீஸ்ல they are fabricating, they are developing, they are producing silicon solar panels. சரிங்களா? That is the main advantage which they have in their hand with a very, very cheap labor, and that's why they are selling it to such a low price. சரிங்க, இங்க வந்து கண்டிப்பா பண்ணவே முடியாது அப்படின்னு Indian industrial people are saying. So that is the main thing. Absorption coefficient, you can see some of you may be working with dye-sensitized solar cells, and you can see the absorption coefficient associated for dye-sensitized solar cells. Nama visible wavelength region எடுத்துட்டீங்கன்னா 500 to 600. You can see here 1.5 into 10 power 3 is the absorption coefficient, whereas for perovskite material is 1.5 into 10 power 4. So they exhibit a very high absorption coefficient. Now coming to the main area, if people are interested in working with silicon perovskite materials, then you could start working with methyl ammonium lead iodide. That was the material which we started to work nearly 6-7 years back. Okay. So methyl ammonium lead iodide or X3, we can have iodide or chloride or whatever it be. You can change the band gap because band gap tuning will make your material to absorb light as per the wavelength. So you can extend the light absorbing nature or the wavelength of light which you want to absorb by tuning the band gap. You can see here when you have methyl ammonium lead iodide, the band gap is 1.55 electron volt. If you replace iodide with bromide, it is 2.3, and if you're going to replace it chloride, it is 3 electron volt. But chloride, you have some issues associated. So fully replacing or fully using chloride will be having some issues that you can partly replace your iodine or bromide with chlorine. Then you'll be able to get a very good perovskite type of solar cell. So here you can see the band gap tuning. People who are working with solar cell materials, they know that if you have a band gap which lies in the region of 1.4, 1.5 electron volt range, particularly the one matches with cadmium telluride and copernadium gallium selenide, that is considered to be very good solar cell material because it will absorb the entire visible wavelength region. Visible wavelength region is associated with that particular band gap value. But silicon solar cell, you know, they have that particular drawback because its band gap is only 1.1. So we need not go into that part because again it is an indirect band gap material. So now you can see if we are going with methyl ammonium lead bromide, its band gap is 2.3, methyl ammonium lead iodide 1.5, ideal material. Then formamidinium, another important material. Instead of methyl ammonium, you can go for formamidinium material. It has a band gap of 1.5, and this material you can see methyl ammonium lead tin iodide. So they go for a cation replacement between lead and tin. That is your AbX3 in that B. Part of the B is lead and another part is tin. Then you can see you can change your band gap from 1.24 to 1.17. So by changing tin or by introducing tin into along with lead, then you can see you can change your band gap. And methyl ammonium tin iodide, you will get a band gap of 1.3. And you can use another material, titanium dioxide. Titanium dioxide, you please keep it in mind, it is not a perovskite material. It is used as another layer in your perovskite solar cell, a supporting layer, what you call barium electron transport layer in your perovskite solar cell. So formamidinium is another important material where with which people are working to fabricate perovskite solar cells. Now here, as I told you, now people have started to work with mixed solar halide perovskite solar cells where they don't depend on iodide alone, they go for fluoride, etc. So they have gone for methyl ammonium lead iodide, methyl ammonium lead bromide, methyl ammonium lead chloride, and a mixed halide solar cell, methyl ammonium lead iodide chloride mixture. But you cannot go for this methyl ammonium lead chloride because the light absorption coefficient is very low for methyl ammonium lead chloride. But if you go for a mixed halide where a part of your iodide ion replaced with chlorine ion, then that is considered to be a very good solar cell. But you have to be very careful, not more than 3 to 4% of chlorine incorporation. If you go beyond that, then the light absorption capacity will be reduced because the band. So you can go for a mixed halide perovskite solar cell. Then you'll be able to tailor the band gap and receive as much amount of energy you want into the solar cell. And another thing is they exhibit better stability. When they go for a mixed halide, they were able to see the stability was large. So you can see here the structure of your perovskite solar cell, which you're going to see in detail later. You have your methyl ammonium lead iodide, then you have a titanium dioxide electron transport layer, then this is your whole transport layer. So the electrons will either move from your methyl ammonium lead iodide bromide into your titanium dioxide. Now the perovskite type of solar cell is completely different. Now the structure of a perovskite solar cell or the architecture of a perovskite solar cell is completely different from your traditional or conversion silicon solar cell. In a convention silicon solar cell, you have only two layers, your p-type material, n-type material. Then you allow light to fall on it, electron hole pairs are being generated, electrons start to move, then you get electricity. But here the structure is not limited to two layers. You have a absorber layer, perovskite material, then you have a hole transport layer, you have an electron transport layer, then you have the counter electrodes, etc. So if people are interested to work with perovskite material or perovskite type of solar cells, you have lot of facilities available here. You can modify the cation, you can modify the metal electrode, you can play with the halogens there, you can play with the A material or B material, and also you can go for a mixed halide and you can start working. But when you are working with this metal, you have a real challenge there because you have to even take into account the size of the anion, size of the cations, everything has to be taken into account. Then only you can go and have a material which will meet the requirement so that you can use it as a solar cell material. So as I told you, the perovskite solar cell architecture is completely different from your silicon solar cell architecture. So you have different layers available in your perovskite solar cell, and the main layer is your absorber layer, which is made up of a perovskite material, which is the one which is going to absorb your sunlight. So perovskite solar cell, in a perovskite solar cell, the sunlight is going to be absorbed by the perovskite material. As soon as it absorbs the sunlight, it is going to produce electrons and holes. So holes will be scavenged or will be pushed or attracted into your hole transporting material, and electrons will be moved into your electron transporting material. So electron hole pairs have to be generated, what you call by the name exciton, where you have your electron in the conduction band and hole in the valence band. They move together and the hole moves into the hole transporting material and electron moves into the electron transporting material. Then that electron has to enter into the transparent conducting oxide, and generally they go for fluorine doped tin oxide. So fluorine doped tin oxide coated glass plates are used as substrates, and over that you have your electron transport material, and the most commonly used electron transport material is titanium dioxide. Then hole transport material, generally they were using organic materials, pyrote material, which I'm going to tell you later, or they go for nickel sulfide, and now people have started to work with carbon based materials as hole transporting material, and the last one will be your metal contact. So the structure is not a simple structure. You have to grow different layers. That is very, very important. So you can see the right hand side diagram, which shows how a perovskite solar cell will look like. For clarity's sake, I have shown the layers well separated, but those layers will be lying one above the other, having a very good contact with one another. So you have an FTO glass. So either people can go for ITO glass or FTO glass, but people who are working with dye-sensitive solar cells or perovskite solar cells better start with FTO glass, that is fluorine doped tin oxide glass, because ITO glass, when you anneal it to temperatures 300, 400, etc., then the stability issues will be there. So better to stick to fluorine doped tin oxide glasses. Then you can have your electron transport layer. So here they have used tin oxide. You can go for titanium dioxide also. You have to deposit titanium dioxide layer, above which you have to go for your perovskite material, then your spiro material, then your counter electrode. That is your aluminum or gold contact. So this is how your perovskite solar cell will look like. And the different materials and their energy levels, because band gap matching is very, very important. The electrons are being generated in your perovskite material has to move into the electron transport material, hole has to move into your hole transport material. As the light is incident on your perovskite material, electrons will start to move from valence band to conduction band of the perovskite material, and from that conduction band of the perovskite material, it has to move into the conduction band of the electron transporting material. Similarly, the hole which has got generated into the valence band of the perovskite material has to move into the hole transporting material. So we have to choose appropriate material. Band gap alignment is very, very important. So all the electron transporting material and organic metals such as PCBM, or zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, aluminum oxide, all those things coming to this side, hole transport materials, pyro, copper, or you can even go for nickel sulfide, carbon-based materials. Now the working principle of perovskite solar cells. Actually, what happens inside a perovskite solar cell, or how electricity is being generated inside a perovskite solar cell. Very simple thing. This is your absorbing material. That is your perovskite material. Now, light is being incident on your perovskite material. You can see light is being incident, and using that light energy, electrons in the contact valence band. So this is your valence band. So electrons in the valence band, or what you can even call by using HOMO level, highly occupied molecular orbit. Electrons absorb that energy and move into the conduction band of your perovskite material. Now what happens is you have your electron transport material which has a conduction band which is slightly less than the conduction band of your perovskite material. So the electron which is at a higher energy level conduction band in your perovskite material makes a downward transition into the conduction band of your electron transport material. So you have to choose an electron transport material which has a conduction band which is slightly below the conduction band, or you can even say the lower energy level of the conduction band should be lying below the lower energy level of the perovskite material, so that electron will come here. At the same time, what happens is the hole in the valence band of the perovskite material will move into the hole transporting layer, which means the electron which is there in the valence band of hole transporting will make a downward transition to the valence band of perovskite material. So the hole will enter into this particular thing. Then it will move to the counter electrode or the outside electrodes. So here you can see the hole transporting material should be an electron blocking material. You should not allow electron to enter into it. Similarly, the electron transport material should be a hole blocking material. You should not allow the hole to move into it. So this is the real picture of what happens inside the perovskite material as light is incident. You can see on the right hand side, you have the HOMO level of your perovskite material, methyl ammonium lead iodide, highest occupied molecular orbital. From there, the electrons start to move into the conduction band by absorbing light energy. From there, it makes a transition into the titanium dioxide conduction band, because the conduction band of titanium dioxide is slightly below the conduction band of your methyl ammonium lead iodide. At the same time, you can see here on the right hand side, a hole from here enters into the HOMO level of your spiro, that is a hole transporting material, and from there it enters into the counter electrode gold here. So from here also outer external contacts will enter, and this is how your electricity is being produced. So electron produced inside the perovskite material after absorbing energy moves into the electron transport layer, hole enters into the hole transporting material, and it starts to move in that direction. So this again is another picture which shows actually what happens. So from the valence band, electron gets excited and enters into the ETL electrode, and hole enters into the anode, which you call by the name hole transport material. So this is the principle of photovoltaics which takes place in your perovskite type of material. But what is the reason that the efficiency is less? You have many energy losses which take place. That is, the electron which is being excited into the conduction band of the perovskite material has to move into the conduction band of TiO2. If that doesn't happen, if that electron, for example, reverts back to the valence band, then that is a loss. Or if that electron, after moving to the conduction band of titanium dioxide, comes back into the valence band of your methylammonium iodide or comes back into the spiro, then that again is a loss. That electron after TiO2 has to move to the other counter electrode. If that doesn't happen, means then that will be a loss. Or if an electron from the conduction band, it returns back to the spiro. So all these are energy losses. The electron which is being excited and put into the conduction band of your perovskite material should enter into titanium dioxide, then to the counter electrode. It should not come back. If that happens, then those are the things which are responsible for the energy losses which takes place in perovskite solar cells. Now coming to the evolution of perovskite solar cells, how all these things started, or from where these perovskite solar cells started, you can see perovskite solar cells started only from dye-sensitized solar cells. People who are working with dye-sensitized solar cells know that in dye-sensitized solar cells, you will be having a photoelectrode. It may be titanium dioxide or zinc oxide, particularly titanium dioxide. And this titanium dioxide is soaked with a dye material. Particularly, they will be using a material which can absorb your visible light, particularly ruthenium-based material. So titanium dioxide is sensitized by using ruthenium, and that forms your one electrode. Then you will be having your iodide type of material which will be used as an electrolyte. Then you will be having a counter electrode. So in the dye-sensitized type of solar cell, you have your counter electrode, TCU electrode, transparent conducting electrode, maybe FTO electrode. You have your nanocrystalline titanium dioxide material here, which has also the dye with it. So once light is being incident, this dye captures that light, moves electron from valence band to conduction band. That electron enters into titanium dioxide and moves towards the outer electrode. And this dye takes care of the electron which the dye has lost comes from the electrolyte here, and it may be a polysulfide electrolyte or iodide, triiodide type of redox type of electrolyte. And from there you have the electron coming here, and the process continues, and you have electricity being produced. Electron starts to move through the external electrodes. So dye-sensitized solar cell, and this was started by Gratzel, and people started to work with dye-sensitized solar cells, and they have reached an efficiency of 12%, 11% as of now. So this was the starting point for your perovskite solar cell. Now this dye which is there in dye-sensitized solar cell was replaced by a perovskite material by Miyazaki in the 2009, and he was able to produce an efficiency of 3.8%. You can see here what Miyazaki did was he introduced perovskite with your titanium dioxide. He mixed perovskite material with titanium dioxide, and he didn't use any dye, and he fabricated a solar cell. So he replaced the dye material with a perovskite material, fabricated a solar cell, and obtained efficiency of 3.8%. But one important thing which he was able to understand was that particular solar cell didn't last long. Only a few minutes he got an efficiency of 3.8%. After that, that liquid electrolyte completely ate away the perovskite material. The entire perovskite was dissolved in the liquid electrolyte within few minutes, and the efficiency dropped down to 0. So the lithium iodide electrolyte which he used, and all methoxia, acetonitrile, all those things completely ate away the perovskite material. So the cell had a lifetime of only few minutes. So what did was great, this particular personality, Gratzel, who started this dye-sensitized solar cell, he used a whole transporting material which was a solid type of whole transporting material. That liquid electrolyte was replaced by a whole transporting material which was a solid whole transporting material, and the material which he used was Spiro. Spiro, if somebody is interested, it is Spiro bifluorine. It is tetrakis methoxyphenyl amino Spiro bifluorine. People who are working in chemistry may be knowing better about this organic type of material, and he used that, and he got an efficiency of 9%. So this was the first perovskite type of solar cell where the titanium dioxide material was mixed with perovskite and used as a light absorbing material, and the liquid electrolyte was replaced by a solid whole transporting material, an organic material, Spiro, and they got an efficiency of 9%, but there were stability issues associated with it. Okay. So if you see Today, how you have the device structure of perovskite solar cell? There are actually two types, mesoscopic and planar type of structure, but mesoscopic people are not working with mesoscopic structure now, and people are working only with planar type of structure. So you have your bottom electrode, which will be fluorine doped tin oxide. Over that, you will be having titanium dioxide, then titanium dioxide plus perovskite mixture, then hole transporting material, then gold. This is mesoscopic nanostructure of titanium dioxide. That is, you have pores present in titanium dioxide, and in those pores you have your perovskite material incorporated. So that is what you call by the name mesoscopic nanostructure based perovskite solar cell. You have another type, planar structure, which people are using now, where the layers are completely one above the other. You have your fluorine doped tin oxide, then you have titanium dioxide, which is your electron transport layer, then perovskite layer, then you have your hole transporting layer. So one layer above the other. You have your glass substrate coated with fluorine doped tin oxide. Over that you have titanium dioxide, which they call by name electron transporting layer. அதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு காம்பாக்ட் லேயரும் போட்டிருப்பாங்க, அது நான் சொல்றேன். Then you have your perovskite layer, then your titanium dioxide, மேல perovskite layer. இது thickness எல்லாம் very very important. Then over that you have your hole transporting layer, which may be spiro or nickel sulfide or other type materials also. So construction of the perovskite based devices. So electron transporting layer will be there, which will be immediately absorbing the electrons and transporting the electrons. Absorbing word use பண்ண கரெக்டா இருக்கா, because அது அப்சார்ப் பண்ணி தானே வெச்சுக்கிறது இல்ல, அது வந்து எலக்ட்ரான்ஸ் வந்து perovskiteல இருந்து வாங்கி டிரான்ஸ்போர்ட் பண்ணிடும். சரிங்களா? They should not allow holes to enter into them. Titanium dioxide, aluminum oxide are being used, but particularly titanium dioxide is being used. Then the light absorbing material, either they will be using methyl ammonium lead iodide perovskite material, or இதெல்லாம் வந்து மற்ற இந்த டைஸ் இதுக்கெல்லாம் பாத்தீங்கன்னா CIGS, CJTS அதெல்லாம் யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க. Then they'll be using a hole transporting layer, and that may be spiro or PD, PE.PSS or P3HT, organic type of materials like that. Excuse me. கொஞ்சம் தண்ணி குடிச்சறேன். Then the transparent electrode, the window layer, it may be your FTO or ITO. So the layer construction is about complicated, but it's not that complicated if you have a very good hands-on experience working with it. Initially, you'll be having some issues associated with it, but after that, you'll be able to, you yourself will develop that skill of having one layer coated over the other. Actually, in perovskite solar cells, they use two different type of architectures called in NIP mesoscopic, NIP planar. NIP அப்படிங்கிறது அல்லது PIN அப்படிங்கிறது light எந்த layer மேல விழுகுதோ அதை பொறுத்து they call it. If light is being made to incident on the electron transporting layer, it is actually NIP stands for N-type material, insulating material, P-type material. So perovskite is I ன்னு சொல்றாங்க, N-ங்கிறது வந்து உன்னோட ETM material, P is your spiro type of material. That is, electron attracting material is your N, hole attracting material is your P, and if light is going to be incident on N side, you call by name NIP. If light is going to be incident on your P material, that is hole transporting material, you call by name PAN type of structure. And planar structure is there, then mesoscopic. Mesoscopic means after your electron transporting material, you will be having a mixture of perovskite and your electron transporting material acting as your absorber layer. But planar structure, they are distinct from one another. You'll be having a transparent conducting electrode. Over that, you'll be having electron transporting material, which will be titanium dioxide. Then you'll be having a perovskite material. Then your hole transporting material. Then you'll be having your metal anode, particularly gold or silver, like that. And if people are interested in working, you can even see the thickness. These are all the optimized thickness, but now you can slightly vary from this thickness. You can slightly go away from this thickness, but not much deviation from this. For example, if you take architecture here, you can see here, you have a glass and you have your ITO over it. Then you can see PTA, which is your hole type of material. PTA, hole absorbing layer, PTA. Then you have your methyl ammonium, lead, iodide, that is mixed halide, iodide and chloride. Then titanium dioxide. You can see the layer thickness 350 to 450 nanometer, titanium dioxide 550 to 90 nanometer. This thickness is very, very important. நீங்க thickness கொஞ்சம் அதிகமெல்லாம் பண்ணீங்கன்னா the electron போறது அதெல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் பிரச்சனை ஆயிரும். Blocking will be more. Then interface interfacing interfacial layer will play a very, very important part. These are all different pole transporting materials, different electron transporting materials. You can see there you have your organic type of materials, inorganic type of materials all being used. P hole transporting copper iodide, copper oxide, all those things are being used. Graphene, reduced graphene oxide, all being used. Even vanadium கூட ட்ரை பண்ணிருக்காங்க, ஸ்பைரோ கூட ட்ரை பண்ணிருக்காங்க, கார்பன் ட்ரை பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Generally electron transport, titanium dioxide and organic type of materials also they are using, and idella HTL serials. So this was how they did the first one, which was by Gratzel. What he did was, you can see there he introduced mesoporous titanium dioxide. This is actually mesoporous type. He used mesoporous titanium dioxide. Mesoporous na porosity irukakudi titanium dioxide layer. So a titanium dioxide layer was deposited over here FTO glass plate. Then he introduced lead iodide over it, and that lead iodide got accommodated over this titanium dioxide. Then he introduced methyl amine or methyl ammonium iodide over it. So you can see the perovskite getting coated or deposited over your titanium dioxide, and this forms your perovskite layer. And you can see the real picture, real magnified image of the thing, same image, cross sectional same. So glass, you can see up to this you have your FTO. Then here you can see you have your titanium dioxide and methyl ammonium lead iodide, and over that this is your whole transporting material, then your gold contact layer. So if somebody is interested in working with perovskite solar cells, if you want to prepare perovskite solar cells, initially you will be having some problem, because this particular material, perovskite material, is hygroscopic in nature. It will easily absorb moisture and it will start to degrade. So initially when we started to work from the year 2013-14, we had that issues. We were working only by using a glow box. We were working only inside a glow box. But now our students have acquired that skill, and under normal conditions in a normal laboratory without using any glow box, they are able to prepare methyl ammonium lead iodide based perovskite solar cells. So it's only the trial and error method which you have to follow, and you have to acquire that laboratory skills. Then you can prepare or synthesize methyl ammonium lead iodide without using a glow box itself. Okay. So the thing is, you have to take a 4-indole tin oxide substrate. You can purchase it, and over that you can coat titanium dioxide. If you have a spin coater, you can coat by using a spin coater, maybe 100 nanometer or so. You can adjust the speed, and you can have the viscosity as per the requirement. You can coat it, so you have the titanium dioxide layer. Over that, by spin coating method, you can use your perovskite layer coated. So perovskite layer can be coated, and methyl ammonium lead iodide in the form of a solution or sol gel, by using a spin coating method, you can coat it. Then over that you can have your spiro coated, a thin layer of spiro being coated over that. Then you can go for your electrode deposition. You get a perovskite type of solar cell. So you can see there are 4 layers: FTO glass plate coated with FTO. Then you have your titanium dioxide electron transporting material, then the perovskite material, then you have the whole transporting material spiro. Above that you have your gold, and gold since a grid marker, because you have to allow light to fall on it. And this is one which they have developed, all inorganic cesium lead iodide perovskite solar cell. They have developed the solar cell without using any organic type of material. So cesium only they have used, and they have fabricated a solar cell. This was by the people from Rice University, and nearly they have reported 12%. You can see the any doubt or any clarification required? I think somebody has unmute his mic. issues any doubt or any clarification required? Shall we proceed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you can see here you have your FTO glass over which you have MTiO2. MTO means mesoporous TiO2, then compact dense TiO2. That is for effectively scavenge the electrons. They have a compact TiO2, then mesoporous TiO2, then a perovskite material, then carbon material. You can see here they have not used any organic material, and they have achieved an efficiency of 12%. And they have also entered into this arena where they have gone for a tandem type of solar cell. Over the already available silicon solar cell, they have fabricated a perovskite solar cell, and they have made a tandem type of solar cell. This was in the year 2019 itself. We over silicon solar cell. You can go for ITO SNO2, perovskite, then spiro, molybdenum oxide. Working with molybdenum oxide, you have to be careful because when you anneal it, you'll have some issues in the interfacial region. Then also with ITO. Then they have taken indium contact and they have reported an efficiency of 22.2%. This is a tandem solar cell. That is a silicon solar cell and a perovskite solar cell connected in series. So they were able to report an efficiency of 22%. Now coming to the work which we have done in our laboratory at Coimbatore Institute of Technology, we started to work with perovskite solar cells from the year 2013 onwards. To be specific, 2013 onwards. We were already working with thin film solar cells from the year 2000 onwards, particularly cadmium telluride, then copper, indium, gallium, selenide, all those things. Then we switched over to dye-sensitive solar cells. We have worked with dye-sensitive solar cells. Particularly, we were the first people who started to work with dye-sensitive solar cells with natural dyes. You can see that during that particular period, maybe 2011, 12, 13, 14, we have published more and more number of papers. நீங்க பார்த்திருப்பீங்க, அவங்க படிக்கிறப்ப சொன்னாங்க 185 articles publish பண்ணிருக்கீங்க. Scopus and Dexlin இருக்கும் என்னோட இதுல பாத்தீங்கன்னா தெரியும். அதுல பாத்தீங்கன்னா in that particular year we have published nearly more than 30-40 in natural dye sensitive solar cells, and we were able to find that அது வந்து இதுக்கு ஒத்து வராது, natural dye gets degraded that very easily. So we were interested in trying different things, and that's why you can see we had so many number of publications. And another important thing is the collaboration which we have, and also the funding which we received from Government of India as well as from the Norwegian government. Even now we have received a funding of nearly 2.5 crore from the Research Council of Norway. That was the fund which we received for the year 2021. A new project which we got. In 15 we got 1 crore, then 17 we got 2 crores, and now we got 2.5 crores with Western Norway University of Applied Sciences. This year with PhD College of Technology and also with Talagappa University. It's a collaborative type of work. So we started to work with perovskite material, particularly with methylammonium lead iodide from the year 2012 onwards, to be more specific. And we fabricated methylammonium lead iodide based perovskite solar cells, and we went with a planar type of structure. You can see the structure which I have given below is the structure which we fabricated in our laboratory. We had FTO, then compact TiO2, then mesoporous TiO2, then methylammonium lead iodide. Then we didn't go for any organic type of whole transporting material. We used nickel sulfide and carbon incorporated nickel sulfide as the whole transporting material, and we got an efficiency. These are all the characteristics: X-ray diffraction pattern and perovskite material, all those things we did, the band gap, all those things. And this is the structure of the solar cell which fabricated. I also given the methodology which we followed. ITO glass substrates. We started with ITO glass substrate and compact dense TiO2 layer by spray coating method. Then mesoporous TiO2 layer with spin coating method. Perovskite material with spin coating method. And I will also tell you how perovskite is how you can prepare the perovskite material in your laboratory itself. Then nickel sulfide, carbon composite by Dr. Blade method, and chromium platinum coated FTO plates which were purchased and which was used the other counter electrode. And we got an efficiency only 5.2%. That was in the year 2013-14, etc. Because you can see even that paper, it was published in 2017 or 18 only. 17 we submitted, 16 or 17 we submitted and got published. So this was the methodology which we followed to fabricate a solar cell. We got a maximum efficiency 5.2% with 20% carbon incorporated nickel sulfide full transporting material. And we did the stability measurements, because whenever you do somewhere to perovskite solar cells, stability measurement you have to definitely do. That is very, very important. Then the next thing was we went to another methodology where we went for a powder press technique, where instead of going for a wet technique, we had our perovskite material spread over the mesoporous TiO2 material. Then we applied a pressure and we got the layers being formed. Here you can see the only change which we made was the methodology was not a wet chemical method for the introduction of methylammonium lead iodide on the titanium dioxide layer. Powder press technique we used. Then we used copper iodide as the whole transporting material. We tried with many whole transporting materials, both organic as well as inorganic. And because we have already worked with organic, we have fabricated organic solar cells, we have fabricated polymer solar cells, and we reported nearly 15-16% efficiency. That work we did in collaboration with Seoul National University during that time. Okay. So we fabricated a perovskite solar cells by using copper iodide as the whole transporting layer. And you can see here what we did was, I told you, I will tell you how methylammonium, if you want to prepare methylammonium lead iodide, it's very simple process only. You can have lead iodide separately, methylammonium, methyl ammonium iodide separately, and you can mix them. Wet chemical method is more than sufficient. You take stoichiometric amount of the methylammonium iodide, lead iodide, and you can see that we have taken lead iodide 0.5 millimole, 0.1 millimole, 1 millimole, 1.5 millimole, and 2 millimole, and mixed with a constant amount of methyl ammonium iodide, that is 3 millimole. And we have fabricated. Now, first we have prepared methylammonium lead iodide. You can see the process. We mixed it, then we mixed it by using a grinder type of arrangement, then methylammonium iodide. You can see the. So here one thing which I want to tell you is, when we change the amount of lead iodide, we were able to see either it was excess of lead iodide or it was excess of methylammonium iodide. So what we did was, we were able to optimize, and for 1:3% of lead iodide methylammonium iodide combination, we got only perovskite. You can see here it was only the peaks corresponding to the perovskite material of methylammonium lead iodide. When it was less, you can see this lead iodide peak was also there. You can see the lead iodide peak here being present. You can see here lead iodide peak 002 peak being present. When we go for excess, what happens? You can see the other one dominating. Okay, so excess of lead iodide, other one dominating. Less lead iodide, methylammonium dominating. So 1:3 means we got stoichiometric methylammonium lead iodide. Then we did the other characterization studies, and we were able to see that when we had 1:3, then the optical window, or you can see up to 800 nanometer, the absorption of visible light is very, very good. You can see this one, it had a band gap of 1.51 electron volt. You can see lead iodide here, this red one, this is the absorption spectra. It absorbs light only for up to here 450 or so, band gap 2.3. And methylammonium iodide, you can see absorption is not very good. You can see the absorption is less than 0.4, and it has a band gap of 3.5 electron volt. But when we mixed with when we mixed methyl ammonium iodide and lead iodide, you can see when the percentage was 1:3, you can see the window extending up to 800 nanometer, covering the entire visible region. So it will be able to absorb all the visible radiation. And we fabricated, and these are all some of the field emission scanning electron microscope images. And I'm not going to spend much time associated with all these things, because many of you may be aware with all these things. Because for a particular percentage of lead iodide, we are able to get uniform distribution of our crystallites, and these are all HRTM images, all those things, particle size. And this is the Perovskite solar cell which we fabricate. You can see we got a JSC of 14.5 milliampere, and actually the open circuit voltage is low, 0.65 is low for a Perovskite solar cell. We have to get nearly 1 volt. And this was the structure which we fabricated. We had a we had the chromium, copper iodide, perovskite, porosity A2 dense, then mesoporosity A2. And we got an efficiency of nearly 3.9% for the powder press technique one. Whereas when we went for a solution processing technique, we got 6.45%, because in the powder press technique, there was no good connectivity between the perovskite layer and the electron transport layer, because there were so many pores associated, and the linking was not there, or we can say the surface associated problems are there. So these are all the cells which we fabricated. We got an efficiency up to nearly 4% and 6.45%. And this is an interesting thing which we did, and this got published in Nature Scientific Reports. And this is we used carbon as a whole transporting material, and we did away with the counter electrode. Here we used a single material which acted as a whole transporting material and also as a counter electrode. So that was the main thing. Another novelty which we did was this carbon which we prepared, we got it from this particular plant. We were able to get graphitized carbon from this common water hyacinth plant. Carbon development. That carbon was used as a whole transporting layer for the fabrication of perovskite solar cells. So here the structure was FTO, then compact TiO2, mesoporous TiO2. Then here we went for mixed perovskite halide, where methylammonium, lead, iodide plus chloride. Then graphitic carbon was introduced. This carbon was obtained, it was not a commercially purchased carbon. It was the carbon which you obtained from this water hyacinth plant. Then graphitic carbon was used. And you can see we collected the leaves of this water hyacinth plant and we cut them to small pieces, dried them, then we burnt them, then we got the burnt one which we annealed at different temperatures, and at a calcination temperature of 1000 degrees centigrade also, we got graphitization process there, and we got actually very good carbon. We can even say a carbon with high degree of graphitization, and we used it as a whole material, whole transporting material in our fabricated solar cell. We also mixed it with your perovskite material and used it for the solar cell fabrication. So these are all some of the images corresponding to that material. And we fabricated a solar cell where this carboxygenous layer was used as a full transporting material, you can see, and we went for Dr. Blade method to have that layer. And we got an efficiency of 8.53%. For the carbon, which was annealed at 1000 degrees centigrade because it was a highly graphitized type of carbon, and we got a very good efficiency of 8.53%. And this was published in Nature Scientific Reports. And you can see the solar cells which we have fabricated, all those things, the methodology which we use to fabricate solar cells. And when even the solar cell which we fabricate by using commercial carbon, it was only 8.36%. But for the solar cell which we fabricated by using the carbon which we obtained from this invasive plant species, it was 8.53%. The main problem which we had was with this low open circuit voltage, and also the fill factor was only 54%. And we studied also the stability, and for 1000 hours you can see from 8.52 there was only a slight reduction. And it came down to only 8.05%. And you can see here for the solar cell fabricated using the carbon which was obtained from that particular plant species. And stability measurements, we made the stability measurement for 1000 hours, which means nearly 48 days, and even more than that we have done for nearly 60 days and 90 days we have done, and there was only a slight reduction in the efficiency. And these are all the stability measurements which we have done. And this is another interesting paper which we published in Royal Society of Chemistry. They call it the RSC journal, and we have so many papers published in RSC journal. And here what we did was we used zinc oxide, and this zinc oxide we prepared. Actually, we didn't prepare directly from this particular plant species. We used this plant species. We used that as a catalyst, or you can even say it as a surfactant, and it controlled the crystallite size of your zinc oxide formation. So the flavonoids and the phenol compounds present in them, they acted as a surface, what you can call it as a grain size reducing agent, and we are able to get very good zinc oxide nanoparticles and flake-like zinc oxide we are able to obtain. And using the flake-like zinc oxide, we were able to fabricate solar cells. And these are all the XRD pattern of your methylammonium, lead, iodide, and chloride mixed halide. And we fabricated a solar cell like this with glass, FTO, compact TiO2. Then zinc oxide was used instead of a ordinary TiO2, which acts as an electron transport layer. We use zinc oxide, then mixed perovskite material, then spiro, then gold. And we got an efficiency of nearly 7.83, but we got a very good current, short circuit current. You can see we got 20.46. Maximum current shown by even very good researchers, you can see it was 25, 26. We got nearly 20. Only thing, as I told you, we were having problems with the open circuit voltage and the fill factor. And we were able to achieve an efficiency of nearly 7.83%, 8%. These were all done actually in 2018, 17, etc. Then in 19, we were able to introduce carbon nanotubes also. Single-walled carbon nanotube incorporated titanium dioxide. It was introduced both into the perovskite material, also into the hole transporting material, also into the electron transporting material. And we even used this carbon nanotubes as a hole transporting material. And you can see the efficiency, we were able to achieve an efficiency of nearly 15% when we used carbon nanotubes, both in perovskite material and also in the hole transporting material. So you can see here, it is actually hole transporting material with carbon nanotube. Also, here we used TiO2 plus carbon nanotube. We're able to achieve an efficiency of 14.4%. You can see CNT in both TiO2 and P3H3. We're able to achieve nearly 14% efficiency. But when CNT was introduced in perovskite material, we had some issues associated with it. That electron transport, etc., was a problem. And this is 50 microgram of per ml means the amount of CNT which we introduced into the hole transporting material and into the electron transporting material. So we're able to achieve an efficiency of nearly 15%. So this is a perovskite solar cell which is there at the Nanyang Technology University in Singapore, and there everything is being done in an instant manner, and they're able to prepare the solar cell. This showed an efficiency. This is in working condition, and this under the indoor condition itself, this showed actually an efficiency of nearly 18% or 19%, and this was, I think, in 2016 or so. So thank you very much. And as far as our work is concerned, I have to definitely acknowledge the funding which I received from all the government funding agencies, nearly 90 lakhs from all the funding agencies, and the Norwegian Government Research Council of Norway, Norwegian Agency for International Cooperation, Quality Enhancement in Higher Education, DICO, which has recently funded nearly 2.5 crores and previously 2 crore and 1 crore. Then Western Norway University of Applied Sciences, who are our active collaborators, and University of Exeter, United Kingdom, and University of Jaffna, Sri Lanka. And the last part of the work which I have presented, it is not my work, it is the work of my students who have done all those things, and only I have given them the guidance, and they have toiled in the lab, and they were able to produce all these results and publish them in very, very reputed journals. So I have to acknowledge all my PhD research scholars who have completed PhD under my guidance and who are also doing PhD, and all the people who are working in our laboratory particularly. Thank you all, and if you have any queries, you're welcome.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, and thank you so much, sir, for your nice presentation, sir. Sir, I have a doubt, sir. Suppose if we are synthesize a nano perovskite material separately, and that material will be coated with the silicon solar cell, then what about the efficiency? Is this possible, sir?
That's right. I showed you on tandem type of solar cell, no? Where I
Yes,
showed
sir. So that is a tandem type of solar cell. This is possible.
solar cell.
Yes.
You can see here, here you can see silicon over silicon solar cell. They have fabricated a perovskite solar cell, and they call by the name a tandem type of solar cell. They will connect them in series, and it will start to work.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, thank you very much for your presentation, sir.
Okay.
Very informative, sir. Muthukumarasamy, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, just a minute, sir. Agree with your words, sir, about the difficulties in fabrication of silicon solar cell. So now, Professor Pierre group concentrated on this silicon solar cell. So his group grown on the multi-crystalline silicon from Indian-made machine, sir. Maybe his talk in the last day.
Okay.
Sir, other question from participants, sir. Please explain the effect of mixing two or more cations at the A site, where I have seen triple cation perovskite solar cell in the literature and protocols.
Yes, all those things are so. As I told you, you will be having mixed halide perovskites. All those things are there. You have 2D, 3D perovskite solar cells. You have 2D type, 3D type perovskite solar cells. All those things are available.
What of them, sir?
All those things are available. Wait a minute. I will go to that particular slide.
The next question, sir.
Okay.
I am working on metal oxide charge transport layer for perovskite solar cell. in NIP structure, can you suggest a method of deposition of HTL, metal oxides, which do not destroy the perovskite layer below it? And I would also want to know technique of deposition of stable perovskite film outside glow box.
Actually, I don't know which metal oxide he or she is working with. Okay, metal oxide, you can either go for a, for example, if you're working with zinc oxide, or if you're working with copper oxide, or if you're working with nickel sulfide or any metal oxide, either you can go for a solution-based growth technique, or you can go for a vacuum process technique. Okay, so vacuum process means it may be a sputtering type of technique or physical vapor deposition of technique, no problem at all. And if you, the second, I think I have answered the first part, and but only thing is you have to choose appropriate starting materials or precursor materials. That is very important. And deposition, when you deposit, one important thing is whether you follow a solution-based method or whether you follow a vacuum-based method. Actually, you will be having your, for example, you start with your FTO. Over that, you coat your electron transporting titanium dioxide, whatever it be. Then the main thing is when you handle the material, you have to be very, very careful. Now, then that will become an issue. Because we don't have an in situ arrangement where your substrate with the layer will enter into another chamber where the electron transport material will be coated. Then it will enter into another layer where perovskite material will be coated without doing it by hand or doing it manually. You don't have an automation. Handling is very, very important. Then the process has to take place immediately. If you fabricate, if you prepare the material today, keep it for some days. Again, if you go for the next coating, then there is every possibility of the metal getting oxidized. So particularly metal oxides, you have to be very, very careful. Then for preparing this perovskite material, either in glow box or under room conditions, if you're going to prepare your methylammonium lead chloride or methylammonium, particularly methylammonium lead iodide, I have given you how we can easily prepare methylammonium lead iodide. And so we have mentioned you how you can easily prepare methylammonium lead iodide by a wet chemical method. You take your lead iodide, then methylammonium, aspect stoichiometry.
Sir, please. Manikandan, please unmute your audio. Yes, sir, please.
So we have given you a sample here. You can see here we have taken methylammonium iodide and lead iodide. This has been done only by a wet chemical method, and you go for your ethanol, all your solvents, all those things. You mix them. You can go through the paper, and this has been published, and the paper we have given in detail how this has been prepared. You take stoichiometric amount of methyl ammonium iodide, lead iodide, then mix them. Then you'll get a very good perovskite material. But initially you will be having some issues because after you coat, you'll be able to see that the color change will happen immediately, which means that it has started to degrade. The main drawback with perovskite material is it will start to absorb moisture from air and it will start to degrade. Moisture, air moisture absorb and degrade. So preparatory conditions is very, very important. In a proper methylammonium lead form, then it will start to degrade very, very easily. So by trial and error method, in glow box but glow box very layer you cannot expect, because such modification oxidation. Then after, when you go the second layer over it, then there will be no good connectivity between the two layers. Surface feasibility is very, very important. Surface engineering, so you have to give much importance to the surface. So you can easily prepare methylammonium lead iodide by wet chemical method. It's not an issue at all.
Thank you, sir. Totadri Ganesh, please raise your question. Please unmute and raise your question.
Yeah, sure. Hello, doctor. It's like a very nice presentation. Actually, I was also in South Korea from 2007 until 2016. I was in South Korea in Hanyang University. I was also working in solar cells. So it's nice to see your work, sir. And one more thing, like what I see, like might be I'm not sure. Like in your optical absorption of your lead iodide and this MAI of 1.5:3, it seems like showing high absorption, but why it is not showing good efficiency, sir? I don't understand. Even it is showing 1.45 band gap.
Yes. Actually, efficiency which we got here was only very less, because you can see the methodology which we followed was a facile powder press technique. This was the first time when what we did was over the ETL layer, we spread the perovskite layer and applied a pressure, and that is what you call compacting. It was a compacting type.
Okay.
We spread the perovskite layer material over your ETL layer, applied a pressure,
Okay.
and over that we got a HTL. We coated a HTL layer, and then we did the fabricated the solar cell.
Okay.
When we were studying the surface engineering, we were able to see that this powders which we have spread over your ETL layer, there was not good connectivity between those two, because it's only an orbit, it's only spread, and there were so many, what you can say, points, there were no connectivity. So many, not points, areas where there were no connectivity at all.
Yeah.
That was the main thing.
So in that particular scheme, I think the interfacial contact is not good. That's
Good,
why might
like
be less efficient.
same thing we did with actually the solution growth technique. We got nearly 8% efficiency. Same material, solution growth, nearly 8% efficiency. One we have reported here is for 6%, I think, 7% efficiency. You can see here. We got nearly 7% efficiency. That was the main thing, because that was the first time which we tried with this powder press technique. That's why here you can see here we have mentioned because we generally
powder pressing, and also you might have did some heat treatment process also for better interfacial contact might be.
That was the problem. That was the problem.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Question from Dr. R. Gauri Shankar Rao. Sir, I am interested in to know on lab scale synthesis for tandem solar cells. His question is lab scale synthesis for tandem solar cell.
Yes, sir. We can prepare, no problem at all. Lab scale synthesis of tandem solar, you can prepare, but to be honest, to be frank, it is not that easy. You can first we have to fabricate a perovskite solar cell, for example. It may be dye-sensitive solar cell or perovskite solar cell or whatever it be. Then you have to have it connected with your silicon solar cell or any other type of solar cell, commercial type of solar cell, for example. Then you have to see that you're going to grow layers one by one. So, if, for example, if somebody is interested in going for a tandem type solar cell with silicon solar cell, you purchase a silicon solar, ready-made silicon solar cell, a commercially available silicon solar cell which is there. Then you have to have these layers coated over it. So if you have the infrastructure there, if you have the facilities there, then definitely you can do it, no problem at all. You can, but one important thing is when you stick to this wet chemical method, you have some issues associated with it, because controlling the layer thickness is very a big issue. Unless otherwise you have a very good spin coater or you have a very good spray pyrolysis which is controlled by a computer for the 3rd digit accuracy or 4th digit accuracy, controlling the layer thickness becomes a very big problem here. Whereas we are going for a vacuum, maybe if you go for a physical vapor deposition, it may be sputtering technique. Then I think if you're able to control layer thickness, and if you have an in situ methodology where you can pour the different layers at a stretch, then definitely you can go for a tandem type of solar cells. But if you're going to take a silicon solar cell, over it you're going to coat the layers one by one, then that will become an issue.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And really, it was an inspiring session by you. And sir, I have been training my students in the field of solar field. I've been training them on handling and installing solar lamps as a part of Solar Ambassador workshop from IIT Bombay.
Thank you.
And I would like to take your experience and work in the future even, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Definitely we will work together, sir. No issues, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Next question, sir.
Yes.
What is the use and benefit PIN or NIP based? How will decide perovskite material is in N type or P type?
See, the main function of the perovskite material here is it has to absorb your light, and it has to produce electron hole pairs. That is the main function. It is used as an absorber layer as far as perovskite solar cell is concerned. So here you can see N or P, depending upon your majority carriers or minority carriers, you're going to brand them as N material or P material. But here, as far as the function of perovskite is concerned, here it is used simply an absorbing material, which is going to absorb your light and produce your electron hole pairs. And the electrons are transferred to your electron transporting layer, and holes are transported into your hole transporting layer. So you have to go for an appropriate hole transporting material. You have to choose an appropriate electron transporting material so that the electrons and holes which are being generated after the absorbance of light enter into their respective layers and move towards the other layers. Okay. So perovskite material, we generally don't take it as N-type or P-type. That's why you can see this structure. It's called by name NIP structure. Means I stands for insulator, which is your perovskite, and N is your electron transport material, and P is your hole transporting material. Okay. So if you allow light from the electron transporting material, you call by the name NIP structure. If you allow the light to fall on your hole transporting material, you call by the name PN structure. That's all. So perovskite material, if the main purpose, it is used as an absorbing material or a photoelectrode which absorbs light and produces electron hole pairs. And those electron holes are being separated and pushed into the respective electrodes. So to making them to move into the respective electrodes, on both sides of a perovskite material, you are coating appropriate materials. On one side, an electron transporting material which can absorb electrons, which can facilitate the movement of electrons to them. And on the other side, you have a hole transporting material which can facilitate the movement of holes through them. I hope my answer is clear and I have addressed your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Is there anything in the chat box? I didn't see the chat box.
Yes, sir. From chat box questions, we asked, sir.
Okay.
Maybe Selvu Kumar is answer these questions, sir.
So the last, I think another person, band gap matching, and other than that, ATL and HTL, they have asked. And in addition to band gap matching, chemical compatibility should be there. That is, we cannot have any two materials joining together. So chemical compatibility, you have to see. And in addition to band gap matching, somebody mentioned about interfacial engineering. So when you are going to introduce a hole transporting material with your perovskite material, how they are going to make contact with one another. The electrons which are being produced inside your perovskite material has to enter into your electron transporting material. So that compatibility is very, very important. So band gap alone doesn't matter. You have other things also which you have to consider. Here they call it by the name which we must have studied as lattice mismatch. Even when you work with your copper indium diselenide or copper indium gallium or cadmium telluride, they use cadmium sulfide. For copper indium diselenide, P-type, N-type, they go for cadmium sulfide material because they say that lattice mismatch is very small, like that they say. So here also, when you go for a N-type or P-type, that is your electron transport or hole transport material, band gap plus a very important one, because that is the one which is responsible for making the electron and holes to move into the respective regions. In addition to that, chemical compatibility is also very, very important. Lattice mismatch should not be there. That is also very, very important. So they are also ones which you determine.
Thank you very much, sir. Somebody asked me your mail ID, sir. I will give you.
It is that website Muthukumarasamy.edu. Yeah. You can enter CIT website, CIT Coimbatore Institute of Technology, and there we have. You can enter the physics department, and there we have. You have my mail ID muthukumar@cit.edu.
Thank you, sir, for your deep insights on the topic solar cells. Thank you so much, sir. To express the words of appreciation and gratitude, I would like to invite Dr. S. Harikrishnan, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, to propose a vote of thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, participants, for your cooperation and interaction today. We will catch you tomorrow with one more new guest and ideas on recent trends in solar cells. Thank you all. Have a nice day.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.